ever feel like the day just slips away and at the end you're left wondering, what have I actually accomplished? Well, I've definitely felt like that. And today I want to talk to you about how shifting my mindset changed everything. Not just for my home, but for my marriage, my motherhood journey, and having a sense of femininity as well. I'll give you all the key secrets about this while I cook some amazing, delicious fish cakes, which are just so yummy and delicious to batch cook and share with your family. You'll love it. For me, there is nothing more stressful than walking into a home that is messy. It's terrible. I hate it, and I just love my space to be clean and organized. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely slip up and I don't do it all the time, but I find that I'm way more productive when my space is clean and tidy. And having an organized space isn't just about having nice aesthetics, it's about creating an environment where my mind can rest. Some practical tips that have worked really well for me is making sure that in the evenings, my kitchen is all clean, that there's nothing in the sink, everything's put away, so that when I come down the next morning, I have a sense of peace just walking into a very clean environment. 2, as you've seen in my previous videos, I love to wash and prep all my food produce before I start cooking. This way I know where everything is, I know that everything's fresh and stored correctly, and that is going to last for a very long time. As you can see in the containers I have here, I always chop up food and store them in clear, good quality containers that are going to keep my food fresh for as long as possible. The next step I do is I always try and tidy at least one room a day. Because I have multiple rooms in a house, it's just easier. I can do the living room on one day, the kitchen on the other, and so on and so forth. That way my house is relatively clean. Don't get me wrong, there are days where I'm just so exhausted with baby that I can't do it, but me aiming for this definitely helps me stay productive. And the last tip about this part is making sure that before I start a task like cleaning or emptying a dishwasher or cooking, I always do something that makes me happy beforehand. So for example, I listen to music as I do my chores, or I just stop and have a cup of tea or my favorite drink with a slice of lemon in it. All these things just make it far more manageable for me so that I don't feel overwhelmed, so that I am resting and taking care of myself, so that I don't lose my feminine energy and just get really tired and exhausted. It's so important. To assess your femininity, ask yourself these questions. Am I nurturing myself the way I'm nurturing others? Am I creating moments of things that make me happy throughout the day? Am I maintaining my dignity, or am I allowing external factors and things outside of my control to impact my mood? For me, femininity isn't about being perfect, but it's absolutely about being authentically me, showing up with dignity, grace, and being magnetic for my husband. It's around the way I speak to him. Am I speaking to him condescendingly, or am I speaking to him in a calm and peaceful manner? For me, a lack of femininity is me being very irritable, very argumentative, nagging, complaining, criticizing a lot. However, when I know I'm in my feminine energy, that is when I am truly happy, and I do it by making sure I do things that make me happy, taking care of myself, going for walks in the park, making sure that I have a phone call with one of my girls, spending time with family, going out to eat. These are things that actually put a smile on my face, and that's critical for me to be feminine and stay feminine instead of slipping back into a masculine mode of being controlling. As a new mum, there's definitely been times when I've been doing a whole lot of nothing. Yes, that's when I feel incredibly busy, but when I look back at the day, I've not actually completed a single task. I've just been very overwhelmed. So key questions to ask are, am I busy or am I truly productive? What do my habits say about my priorities? What am I putting first? And productivity isn't about doing everything on your to-do list and everything being perfect. No, it's about doing what matters to you, your family, and your peace. For example, I start off my day by doing 10 things I'm grateful for because that helps me stay in a positive mood throughout the rest of the day. And I definitely feel a difference when I don't do it. Another thing I do is in the evening, I try to do Bible study before I go to sleep. And this also makes me feel a lot more productive, that I've completed something that's important to me. This habit is absolutely key for me staying productive and in my feminine energy. That is having a very quick power nap. I sleep when baby sleeps and I feel my energy shift back to 10 for when it drops down to about 4 or 5 when I don't have a nap as well, because I'm up all night taking care of baby and it can be very stressful and tiring. So making sure I look after number one as well definitely makes me show up correctly. I cannot stress this enough. It's so important to be happy. I've learned that when I'm joyful, my home feels lighter. The energy in the way I present myself is happier and positive. My marriage is stronger and there's a lot of intimacy there. And every day, chores become less mundane and a lot easier to accomplish when I'm in the right mood. Let me give you a very quick story. There was a time when I was stuck at home and I couldn't go out anywhere. It was raining, it was very windy, and I felt my mood tanking. I was being incredibly negative and rude to my husband. Unknowingly, it just came out of me. However, when I would find that I am showing up that way, going for a walk, being out in nature and looking up at the clouds and being outside took me out of that negative mood. And by the time I got back home, I was way more positive, but most importantly, I was happy. I was my true self. There's no such thing as a happy marriage if the people in the marriage aren't happy themselves. And that's why it's one of the most important things to have in a marriage and to do for yourself. Because by making yourself happy, you will radiate that to the one you spend time with the most, your husband, your children. So that's why it's a top priority in my list to do things that make me happy throughout the day. Being happy and smiling a lot also magnetizes my husband to me. He wants to spend time with me and be around me, as well as people outside of my marriage, by making sure I do show up this way. I make sure that my chores, such as cooking, don't feel like chores. And what I mean by that is that I make it as convenient for myself as possible. I batch cook as often as I can. For example, with these fish cakes I'm making here, you'll see I get so much out of it just by doing a big batch. And that means that throughout the week, I can take things out to defrost it, to have as different meals. And it's so much easier than deciding what to make every single day. Cooking does not have to be a burden. It can be simple, it can be fun, and it can be creative. And also what makes it easier is making sure that my fridge and my kitchen is very organized, just so that I know exactly what I have on hand and what I've run out of. It makes the experience go by a lot more seamlessly. For me, cooking is about sharing my love. I absolutely enjoy it, seeing people's faces light up when they taste my food, and it just makes me feel fulfilled. Popular culture definitely explains that being a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mum is the easy option, is the simple option. I couldn't disagree more. Having been in the corporate world for a decade, I can definitely say that I am just as busy, if not even more now, because as a mum and a wife, instead of serving corporate, I'm now serving my family and my marriage. So I'm putting in the same amount of energy, if not even more. And I'm putting in far more emotions into it because it's things that I absolutely love and cherish. Quick side note, look at my delicious fish cakes. They're so yummy, they're so tender and soft inside, and because they've got cheese, they're so stringy and moist, and I just love this. You have to make it for yourselves, you won't be disappointed. So, when you choose productivity and you embrace your femininity, when you create an environment of happiness and you're not just keeping up with chores, you see it as building a foundation, a thriving family and a graceful marriage, you'll find that life simply just gets better. It doesn't happen overnight, but every small step that you take to become a stronger mother and a more graceful wife, you become a happier woman. So, if this resonates with you, please subscribe and join me as I share more about faith, femininity, motherhood, and marriage. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.